Hey, welcome back to a Spire channel where it's time to do the Blood Wall and Breakthrough episode for our Slay the Spire 2 homemade Slay the Spire 2 project, right? And so our episodes, for this video series have been longer than probably is desired because when I get done recording, I look at the length, it's like, oh wow, that took longer than I expected it to, right? And so we're going to shorten things a little bit, right? So we'll cut off the most boring part, which is copying the image files to the project folder at least. So, we'll just stop doing that, and we just do that before we start recording, right? But basically the images, so I downloaded the card images, right, from untapped.gg, right? And then I just cut out did some rudimentary image editing to just get the image of the actual card, and then I copied it to the project folder so we have access to it. But yeah, we did that already. Okay, moving on. So housekeeping, right? Last episode we noticed that we had is upgraded, like if the card is upgraded or not as an export variable. This probably doesn't need to be an export variable, right? Like when we're making a card, like it'll get upgraded later, but there's no reason like the resource file for the card has to, you know, have that as something you set in the inspector, right? Because cards generally don't start upgraded. If there's a situation where you need to upgrade the card, you can just set that programmatically, right? So let's get rid of this. So I think we get rid of this, right? We don't need that. Okay, so let's So okay, next order of business, blood wall. We want to make a script for blood wall, right? Which is basically health loss plus block. That's all it does, right? And the block part is basically just like defend, right? But it costs 2. It gives a different number of block, and then the health loss, well, you can just copy that from like the offering or bloodletting, right? So let's do that. So if we go into our well, we need to find the right folder first. So if we go into cards, STS2, so this is a common card, right? So we'll make a new script. So this will be blood wall, right? And then it'll be inherit from card. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, so let's call this blood wall. Yeah, like that. And then so let's just copy the health loss part from like bloodletting or offering, right? So if we go into, let's say, bloodletting, okay, we'll just get this health loss thing, and then blood wall, we lose 2 health, right? Yeah, 2 health, 16, 20 block. So we'll change that to 2. I guess we need to make the tool tips, I guess. So we just copy that from our bloodletting. So okay, so we need to. Oh, we already did this, right? Yeah. So we're losing. Oh, we don't need this. Oh yeah, we're not gaining energy, so we don't need to copy the gaining energy part from the bloodletting, right? So we just need to lose the HP, and then the part what we also need to gain block, right? And then the block part can be in what looks like gold. Like I don't know if that's what they actually use in real Slay the Spire, but it looks close enough, right? So lose HP, gain gold, right? And then. So we don't need to do this thing where we're doing a different amount of energy icons for bloodletting. So yeah, we probably should have copied this from something else, right? But return tooltip text. So tooltip text will be this, right? So just to be clear here, tooltip text will be So if upgraded, and then we'll have 2 string interpolation parameters, I guess. So we'll say health loss, and then I guess the block. Well, what did we call the block? So if we just copy this from like the defend script or something, so where did we put that? No, there should be so not in Ironclad, there's like a shared, okay, so here. So we have base block and upgraded card. We'll just copy that stuff into the blood wall. The blood wall script, right? So yeah, we have upgraded block, right? And then we'll just do hold on, we don't need this S here. Okay, so we'll do health loss, and then and then base block for the unupgraded version. Okay, yeah. So we got that. What else do we need? So we need, well, we need the in combat block, right? Tooltip. So because Blood Wall, you're not always going to get the same amount of block. You could be frail. You could have dexterity, right? For example. So we do need to copy that, right? So let's do that. So we have well, we should be a little more strict about this, right? So so just kind of declare the types of those. So just to make things more clear, and then have more. Well, the IDE will be able to check stuff if you kind of statically declare your types. But yeah, we didn't know how to do that at first when we were starting out with Godot. So yeah, but now we do know how to do that, right? So okay, if we're upgraded, we take the oh yeah, the Blood Wall doesn't do 5 and 8 like a defend does, right? It blocks for 16 and 20. Yeah. So if we are upgraded, unmodified block is the upgraded block, else it's the base block, right? And then modified block is, okay, we apply the modifiers, and yeah, okay, that part looks right, and then we make it green or red depending if it's bigger, okay. And then, but we also need to add the tooltip text there, right? So we need to add the health loss to the, yeah, so we had to do this sort of thing. Yeah, so if we do this, because normal defend you don't lose health, right? But you do for the Blood Wall. So yeah, so there should be our script, right? That's probably fine. Okay, so yeah, we got the script, and then let's make the resource file, right? So then that'll do all the other. So this is just the card effect, but we need to add stuff like the cost, the card type, the image, right? Stuff like that. So, oh wait, it's a common, right? Blood Wall is a common. So we go in here in the resource, right? And then we say, well, it's a Blood Wall. And then we want to make Blood Wall.tres. And then, yeah, so let's open that up. So we call it, and because we got rid of, the is upgraded as an export variable, right? That's no longer cluttering up our inspector here. So we won't get distracted by a useless field, right? So we do Blood Wall. It is a skill. It's not rarity starter, it's rarity common. It's target self, right? We just block, and then it costs 2, right? Yeah, and then it doesn't exhaust, it's playable, it's not ethereal, it doesn't have an end card turn discard effect. Okay, so let's go back to our image, and then we put the Blood Wall, and then the tooltip text is just what we said we were going to do in the Blood Wall script over here, right? So we go here. Yeah. Let's see exactly what it looks like. So yeah, there's periods also after the. So yeah, that's fine, right? We just need to get rid of this. Okay. Yeah, that should be. Yeah, okay. And then the upgrade preview text is the. So and when you upgrade Blood Wall, it gets 20 block, right? And then that becomes green, right? So, I mean, this is probably a janky way to do it, so we might need to refactor this later, but for now it's good enough, right? Equals green, 20. All right, so 20 block, yeah. And then Blood Wall. Okay, so there's our resource, right? So let's add that to the list of draftable cards that the Ironclad has available to him. So then, yeah, let's do Slay the Spire 2 draftable cards. So we add that, and then we'll have the Blood Wall, yeah. We move that over to the common section, yeah. And then, okay, so now we have another card. Okay, so now we do the next card, right? So that would be Breakthrough. And then, so let's talk a bit about Breakthrough, right? So Breakthrough is, in terms of the card effect, right? It's just an AoE hemokinesis with different health loss and damage numbers, right? So we can reuse the script that we made before we started making YouTube videos, right? That for hemokinesis, right? And then so we want to reuse this and just change the numbers, right? And that sort of thing. Yeah, so one thing we want to do also is, oh yeah, check if we remember to change the upgrade preview text and when we duplicated the original Slay the Spire hemokinesis and put it here, right? Okay, we did. No, we didn't. No, this is the upgrade preview text. So when we upgrade the hemokinesis of Slay the Spire 2, we were going to get the wrong value. It was going to upgrade to the right thing, but when you, on the rest site, you were going to see the wrong number when you upgraded it from command or a rest site or something, right? So it would that's a bug, right? So we had to do that just because of the janky way we're doing our upgrade preview text. But okay, we fixed that now, right? So yeah, we did forget. Fixed now. Yeah. Okay, so the card was working properly, but the display would have been bugged, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the. Okay, so we say that we say that hemokinesis is just, breakthrough is just an AoE hemokinesis with different health loss damage numbers, right? And you might be thinking that, well, isn't the AoE part kind of important, right? Yeah, it is, but it's not important in terms of just the card effect, right? So when we do, when we have this derived class that, derived from the base class card, right? So card is what handles the part where we're getting the targets, right? And then it's we have when we actually apply the effects. So it'll be like an array of targets, right? Because a card could be. So the base class will populate the array. It could be one or it could be more. And then when it's single target, it'll just put one. And then it's multi-target, it put multiple, right? But the derived class, right, which for the card effect just needs to worry about, well, overriding the base class apply card effect. Yes, because the apply effects thing, right? Like so, and then we just assume that the rest of the code is actually passing in the targets correctly, right? So something can go wrong if the rest of the code is there's something wrong with it, right? But if we did do things correctly, hopefully that shouldn't happen, and this will allow us to just reuse the scripts for the single target, multi-target, that sort of thing. And this part is the part where we have the apply effects thing be something that the derived class overrides. This is the same as Godot Game Lab Slay the Spire tutorial, which we followed when we were first learning, right? So to the best of my recollection, we didn't change that part. So having derived classes, to begin with, I think is different. I don't think that was in the tutorial, but yeah. But this part is the same. But I'll just do that. So one thing we need to do, right, is we talked about this, right? Yeah. So one thing we need to do is move the hemokinesis script to the shared script folder and rename it to something that's more generic, right? So we use that. So, okay, so let's find our hemokinesis script, right? So we're going to move that into the shared, so I guess, we can put it in the, not outside of Ironclad, it could be in the shared cards folder. So when we were first starting out with Godot, we didn't really understand how resource files worked, and we were kind of doing a lot of stupid stuff, like kind of making a different script for each card, even though they did the same thing, right? So for example, we're being stupid, or just ignorant, not knowing how things work, right? And let's say for Shrug It Off, and then, if we go into Uncommon, right, the colorless card Finesse. So we have a separate script for Shrug It Off and Finesse, even though they're the same thing, just different numbers, right? So this is not how you want to do things, and eventually we'll have to refactor that. But, for now, we're on the episode where we do Blood Wall and Breakthrough, so let's just do that, first, right? So let's move the hemokinesis script, right? We have from the uncommon folder. Let's go back. So we go to move this, not in the Slay the Spire 2 folder right there. So we did this before we started making YouTube videos and before Slay the Spire 2 came out. So we move this to here, right? Yeah. And then we renamed this to something like, health loss and damage or something, right? Yeah. And then and we can even give it a class name. That's one thing that we weren't really being strict about when we first started out, right? But we probably should do this. Health, loss, and damage, right? And let's just make sure we don't have anything else called that, right? Oh. Okay, wait. How come we can't find it in this file? Does it not search in... Hold on. We should at least be able to find this instance of it, right? Am I doing the search wrong? GDG shader. That's weird. Oh, okay. Maybe I was hitting the replace instead of find. Okay, but so we have only this, right? So this, it's fine to name it this, at least for now. And then, well, we do the health loss first, right? So maybe we should move this up, right, up here. And then and we need to make this an export variable now because different health loss and damage cards can make you lose different amounts of health, right? Because breakthrough, you lose 1 health, hemokinesis, you lose 2, right? So if we're going to reuse this script and then use this script for multiple cards, we want to make this an export variable, and then, yeah. And then, so I guess if we're going to reuse this, we shouldn't have like default values, right? We should kind of, we shouldn't put the default values for hemokinesis in here. We'll do that, right? So let's just, yeah. Well, yeah, let's just do it like that, right? And then let's just make sure the hemokinesis ones didn't get changed in the TRES file. Oh, no, they do. Okay, so that's one thing you have to be careful about then. Huh. Okay, so let's go and fix that then. So hemokinesis is, oops. So this is old hemokinesis, right? This is original Slay the Spire. Yeah, let's go fix that. And then Slay the Spire 2 hemokinesis. Alright, so yeah, maybe we should have been a little more careful about that. But yeah. Here, oh, that one didn't get changed. Okay, well. Okay, maybe I don't know exactly how it works, but yeah, we're fixing it anyways. So, okay, so that's Slay the Spire 2 hemokinesis. This is old hemokinesis, right? Yeah, and then so, okay, so now when we make breakthrough, we can set it to 1, 9, and 13, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so that, yeah, we have this script that's just kind of made more generic. It's been renamed to health loss and damage. And oh yeah, let's make sure. So yeah, the scripts have been updated to use the new name, right? Okay, so now we can go and start making our breakthrough script, I guess. Yeah. Well, no, not breakthrough script. Sorry, the breakthrough resource. And then, oh yeah, so in our health and damage script, so we're not using AoE tooltips, right? So, and the reason for that is in the original Slay the Spire, I found it to be very inconsistent, like whether or not cards like Whirlwind, Cleave, Thunderclap, like when they did the same damage to a lot of multiple enemies, like it was very inconsistent in whether or not it would account for, the vulnerable and things like that. And so I don't know if that depended on the card, right? Or if it depended if on a single target, or if it depends if you're playing PC mobile, or if or if it was like if a card, one of the enemies had block or not, right? But because basically sometimes it would, like show the damage when you were dragging the card, like, let's say you have a upgraded Whirlwind that does 8, right? But all the enemies were vulnerable. So like, if it accounts for vulnerable, like it would show like, you do 12 damage to all enemies, right? And then, but if it wasn't accounting for that, it would just show 8, right? But I found that behavior to be very, well, inconsistent in the original Slay the Spire, right? So my initial impression of Slay the Spire 2 is that is a lot more consistent, and it generally, if all the enemies are taking the same amount of damage, like it does show the kind of after modifiers. But I haven't done a lot of testing on that, right? So I probably want to test a bit to see exactly how it works with Slay the Spire 2. Right, but I mean, honestly, the right way to do it is probably just which way you feel like is best, right? Like when you're making your own project. So, and probably, the way I would do it is probably just if all the enemies do the same, take the same amount of damage from an AoE card, like you just update the tooltip to show the value after modifiers, right? But that's something that I probably want to at least check to see how it's done in Slay the Spire 2, if there's like a general rule before, deciding something like that. And there's also a lot of other considerations too, like, well, just which way should it be and how do you make that clear, right? Because if you're doing AoE damage, right, and then you're showing like a certain number and then the player thinks that, oh, that must be before vulnerable, and then it's just that value that you're showing is after vulnerable. They think, oh, hey, what I thought it would do that value plus 50%, right? But it could also go the other way around. Like if you're saying that, well, the player thinks that, oh, this must be taking account all the modifiers, right? But then the tooltip you're showing is not taking account modifiers like vulnerable, and then it does more damage than the player expects. It's like, oh, wait, what the heck happened there, right? So it's probably the most important thing is probably just to make it clear, right? Which it wasn't really in Slay the Spire 1. It was very inconsistent. And Slay the Spire 2, I think my initial impression is that it is more consistent, but it's still not clear exactly what the rule is. Like it doesn't explicitly show you. You just sort of have to figure it out yourself, right? But probably the best way to do it is just do whichever way you think is best if you're making your own homemade, thing. And so for now, I guess, though, we haven't thought about it enough, so that's out of scope for now, AoE damage card text. We're just going to show that the amount after your personal player modifiers like strength, and then pen nib, stuff like that, but we're not going to take into account modifiers on the enemies when we show the tooltips, right? So that just get that out of the way, right? Just to make it clear that, we're not doing, AoE tooltips that way in this episode at least. So, okay, so anyways, now that we went off on that tangent, made a speech about AoE tooltips, we're just going to make the breakthrough script, right? So yeah, we got the big speech out of the way. So, okay, we're making a resource. It's health loss and damage card, right? So that will be the derived class name that we're going to use for the breakthrough.tres, right? Which is a common card in Slay the Spire 2, and it does 9 damage AoE, 13 damage AoE, right? When upgraded, and then we lose 1 health when we play it, right? Oh wait, we forgot to actually lose the health, right? When we were playing Bloodwall, did we forget to do that? Oh no, we forgot to add the actual card effect. So we only added the tooltips. Hold on, let's go back here. We need to actually add the card effect, right? So we didn't actually finish implementing the thing before we moved on to start talking about breakthrough. That's kind of embarrassing. So okay, so we went to actually, when you play that, it actually does something and you actually gain the block, right? So yeah, this is yeah, that looks right. Sure. And then we also need to get the health loss part, right? And then so here, yeah, so we'll do this, and then we'll just copy that, right? And then put that in the Bloodwall script. So now it should actually do something when we play. And we make sure to put that before the block, right? So we do it in the right order. Yeah. And then, yeah, we have health loss here, right? And then, this is also another thing that's, thing we, to do, so out of scope right now since we don't have tungsten rod, but, in the future we'll need to, have more robust implementation, have robust health loss implementation that takes into account tungsten rod case, and maybe other similar cases if any exist. But for now, right, we're still early on. We'll just do this, we'll just do this for now, and we always lose the same amount of health. Yeah. Okay, so back to breakthrough, right? Yeah. So now we actually put that there. So okay, so we need to. So yeah, the health loss and damage script was already implemented from before we started making YouTube videos, right? So yeah, so we just have to create the resource. Okay, so let's go back to our breakthrough resource though. Okay, so we didn't finish setting the actual value, the stuff in the inspector. So the name is breakthrough. It is an attack. It is a common. The target is all enemies, right? So that's the key. So that to make sure it actually does the AoE. And then, the rest of the code will make sure to pass in the, multiple enemies if it needs to, right? But this, just the health loss and damage effect will be, agnostic as to whether or not the card that's, instancing this class is, AoE or single target. So it costs 1, it doesn't exhaust, it's playable, it's not ethereal. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so let's do the icon. So breakthrough. And then, oh yeah, we need to put the tooltip text, right? And then, so I guess let's make sure we, yeah, so I guess the tooltip text will change oh, yeah, so well, that's one thing that we need to do. So this will be dependent on the card, right? Card dependent. Because for breakthrough, we do need to make sure it says like to all enemies, right? Yeah. Because, yeah, you see how it is. Deal 9 damage to all enemies. Yeah, okay, so let's just say that. The current scene is... What? Where is this coming from? Okay, is that... Okay, that's just... that's weird. What is this complaining about? We don't have a scene. We don't have a scene open. Why is it... Okay, is this just a weird Godot editor bug? Do we have cyclic dependencies now? Oh, well, we'll see that when we try to run the project, right? So, but for now... Okay, so let's go to the... back to our breakthrough, .tres. Wait, no, not this is the right folder. Hold on. Breakthrough. So we need to put the the upgraded preview text, right? So lose 1 HP and then deal color equals green, 13 damage to all enemies. Yeah, so that should be that. So we have. Yeah, is this just something that it does if you don't have a scene open? Like, okay, well, I guess we'll find out. So let's go to our starting cards, right? So, and then let's add the breakthrough to the, yeah, to here, move that up. Yeah. Okay, so now that should be, in theory, done, right? Okay, so now we need to actually test this stuff. So we go back to the cheating block, right? And then we probably should rename like the cheating variable so that we can just, have them be descriptive in the future, right? So let's just say this is test and then test 2, right? Or something like that, yeah. And then let's just, okay, so then we just change the path when we're cheating in the cards, so for testing purposes. Yeah, and then we, so yeah, that way we're not always, having a taunt or, uppercut. So, okay, so now we cheat in the common / breakthrough, right? We should also put a hemokinesis there too, just to make sure that we didn't break it when we tried to, do the script refactor, right? So let's just say, and we could make it the Slay the Spire 2 hemokinesis. That's 14, whoops. That's the 14 unupgraded, 19 upgraded damage, right? Yeah. Okay, so and this will be test 3. All right. So yeah. So okay, we do, so yeah, we're just in the testing phase now, right? So hopefully this. Oh yeah, I guess we should go over what we want to test. So we want to. Oh yeah, so we did this, right? So we need to verify the single target and AoE, just to make sure that that part's working, just to demonstrate that, right? And then we want to test the unupgraded and upgraded version, the blood wall and breakthrough, and then the card upgrade previews. Okay, so let's do that. So now we have the cheating cards that we have in our deck, right? So we just, yeah. So, we can upgrade one. So let's test one of the card upgrade previews. Let's start with blood wall, right? So we should say 20 in green, right? Yeah, that looks right, right? Okay, so we upgraded that. So let's go on, find a camp, and then, we still haven't added any, Slay the Spire 2 enemies, so we're just testing on, the old ones, right? Oh, wait, I forgot to remove this cheating stuff. Hold on. Yeah, let's not have the Vajra and the Smooth Stone to cheat with at the start, right? We don't, yeah. Okay, so yeah, okay, so well, I guess let's raise our max HP. Let's just find a camp, right? Okay, so now, okay, we have breakthrough, so we want to make sure this AoEs properly, right? So when we play this, we should go down to 90 HP, right? This should go to 5, this should go to 19, right? Yeah, okay, so that works. Okay, and then when we play Blood Wall, we should lose 2 HP, so we'll go down to 76 and gain 16 block. Yeah, okay, so the basic functionality, that seems to be working, right? So we need to test the upgraded versions of it just to make sure that works, and we need to test hemokinesis to make sure we didn't break that also. So this should go down to 15, right? Or sorry, 5. It take 14 damage, right? And then we're still using the old art, but yeah, we don't care about that. And then we'll go down to 74 HP, right? Okay, yeah, so yeah, that is what we want. Oh, wait, so we need to test the upgraded cards now. So we need to go, upgrade cards, and then yeah. So let's just get through this fight, and then we'll go on, and then yeah, just whatever. Wait, how did we get? Did we just get? Oh no, that was before we restarted the game. Yeah, that's fine. So we had the slimes, and then we had the louse, right? Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, so I also, when we played Hemokinesis, it didn't AoE, right? You should have noticed that before. So yeah, we can do it again just to reinforce that. So this is not going to AoE, right? So it will work. That breakthrough AoEs and Hemo doesn't. Yeah, okay. So that's still correct. Okay, well I guess we can add another breakthrough. Sure. All right, take the golden idol. Sure. Okay, so let's go here. Okay, now we need to test the breakthrough. The upgrade text, right? So yeah, 13. All right, let's go back and see to make sure the hemokinesis and Slay the Spire 2 is, yeah, so that's the thing we fixed earlier, right? Okay, so yeah, we upgrade breakthrough, right? Let's make sure both, okay, only the one we upgraded gets, yeah, so we do have these as deep copies, right? And then yeah, so we need to test the upgraded functionality of breakthrough now, right? So where's the next camp? Up here. So yeah, let's just try to fight our way there. Go through here. We're kind of dying too. So yeah, let's just not mess around with these, right? Let's actually try to save some HP. Well, we'll have another chance to test our upgraded breakthrough. Oh, there's a regen potion. Okay, that's good. I guess we take taunt. I guess sure. Okay, maybe we play the regen potion. Okay, so let's. Okay, we block right. Then yeah, we're just trying to we're trying to test the upgraded breakthrough. So we need to draw that, and then yeah. I don't know. I guess we just kill this. Okay, we taunt them. Breakthrough. Okay. Wait, where's our upgraded breakthrough? Are we not? Oh, so something's wrong, right? So when we started the, okay, so we broke something. So we're not getting upgraded breakthrough during the fight. So is that because we messed up our, is that because we made this not an upgraded variable? No, we forgot to upgrade the breakthrough function, right? Is that, I mean the card. So okay, what are we doing here? So is upgraded is true, right? And then so we're doing that in the base class. Hold on. What do we do? This used to work. Hopefully that wasn't because we made that not. I don't see why making that an export variable would. Did we mess something up here when we up? How did we manage to mess that up? So great. Tooltip text. No, so when we're starting a fight, we're not. upgrading the cards anymore? Is that... Hold on. Let's go through that again. So, okay. Let me just get through here. Okay, so, okay, let's try. Okay, so we upgraded. So when we upgrade it, it does get upgraded in our deck, right? But for some reason, when we can upgrade the other card. So for some reason, when we're starting the fight, are they not getting? Okay, so that's a problem, right? So we're doing something weird now with the cards. Okay, what did we do? When did we mess that up? I mean, was that really because the export variable changed here? Why would that matter? Okay, well, let's see what we're doing when we're starting the fight. Hold on. Oh, man, where did we even put it? So there should be a place where we're changing the deck, right? Hold on. So this part is not working anymore if it's not an export variable? Oh. Ah. With its exported or property usage storage properties copied from the original. Okay, so in order to use the duplicate function properly, it has to be an export variable or deep usage? Really? Okay, well, we learned something about Godot today, right? So what is this property usage storage? What? Property usage flags. Okay, so we need to... All right, how do we set that? So export flags. Okay, so we have to set an export flag. Then the flag name is property usage storage. Okay, so we need to... Is this how you do it? Oh, it's export. Okay. Oh, we learned something, right? Okay. Wow. I did not know it worked that way. Well, so you can see why we're noob, and we probably, this is just for entertainment. You don't want to take learning from me, Jeez. All right, so now okay, back to where we're... But yeah, that maybe there's some entertainment value in watching me stumble like that, at least, right? Hopefully, yeah. All right, so let's continue on. And then hopefully we're upgrading the cards properly, right? When we... Oh, I guess I could have taken armaments to upgrade the cards, All right. Maybe I should have restarted the run when we didn't have an early camp or pomander. This is a bit slow way to test, right? just take damage cards. All right, so okay, so now we should be able to, get to it. Okay, upgrade. So let's just make sure when we're upgrading breakthrough, it actually stays upgraded when we start a fight, right? So now, yeah, okay. So we fixed that problem, right? Okay, so yeah, we got to be careful when removing the export flag. Like, so if we, yeah, because we removed it because we didn't want to show it in the inspector, but removing that also messes with the duplicate function in Godot apparently. Oh yeah, so now we're testing, right? So we have 2 strength and then breakthrough to 15, right? And then, well, we're not doing the tooltip, so we're not showing 22, but this should kill it, right? Yeah. Okay. And then upgrade the blood wall. So yeah, let's make sure we're testing these properly. Okay, so, oh, now we've got vulnerable. All right, so, okay, blood wall, let's make sure we're gaining 20 block and we're going down to, 27, right? Okay, that seems to work. All right, so yeah. So we need to draw a breakthrough and make sure we well, 9 because we're weak, right? But that's fine. So 9 damage to everything, right? So you can see what I'm talking about, that I'm not doing the AoE tooltip, right? Like, well, if all of these were vulnerable, like, it would still show 9. You saw that the last fight, right? But let's just make sure that the functionality of breakthrough plus is working, right? So these should take 9. So basically this will go to 4, this will go to 5, this will go to 3, and this will die, right? Okay. So we did that, right? So we've tested the basic functionality of blood wall and then the breakthrough, right? And then, whoops, yeah. And then we made sure that the hemokinesis still worked and it didn't AoE. We made sure that the blood wall, the breakthrough did AoE, right? We tested the card upgrade preview text. So yeah, we got through what we wanted to get through this episode, right? Yeah, and we ran into a hiccup on the way where we where we removed the export flag from the what do you call it, the card, yeah, from the is upgrade, because we removed this just because we wanted to not have it show up in the inspector, right? In the yeah, in the inspector for cards, right? But the consequence of removing the export flag is that, well, we also need to add export storage flag, otherwise the dot duplicate won't, duplicate that thing properly, right? When we're going into battle and then we're copying our deck, or our deck into our. So I guess they're both decks, right? But the deck you have, like, between fights, and then the deck you have during the fight, right? Yeah. So yeah, so the deck during the fight was not being copied properly from the deck that you have, like, across the run, like, if that wording makes any sense. But we fixed that with thanks to some, the Godot documentation and then some Google, right? So yeah, it's export storage now. So yeah, okay, so yeah, so it is export storage now. Okay. And then yeah, so lessons learned, right? Well, lesson learned. Careful when removing at export flag if you plan to duplicate an object, and with .duplicate, you might need, export storage. All right. Yeah. Okay, so the next episode, yeah, we probably want to add more cards, and hopefully we don't run into any hiccups, where we stumble again. And so yeah, hopefully that goes better. So yeah, we'll do. Let's plan to do like well, we could do the bully, dismantle, dominate, right? Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So yeah. Let's just say let's plan to do bully, dismantle, dominate for episode 7. Yeah, but next time we won't stumble on the export storage thing again, right? Yeah, so bully, dismiss. So those were the things that had vulnerable interactions. So one hits twice, one does more damage, right? And then one does gain strength. Yeah, so that'll be a good episode, I think. And then after that, maybe we do the Nibbit so we can at least change one of the enemies so we're not fighting the original, say, the Spire enemies when we're testing our cards, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, until next time. So let's stop recording.